Welcome to Indiana Sports Beat Radio, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington and Southern Stone Restaurant.
Looks over the middle, second guesses, fires, throws. Does he make the catch in the end zone? Yes! Touchdown! Oladipo to win it.
Another one! Another one!
Oladipo!
One! Huge hole! He's at the 30! He's gonna go! 10, 5, touchdown! Jonathan Taylor!
Worked out by Burke. Bounces into Cody. Puts it up. Scores!
Now, from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios, here's your host, Jim Coyle.
Hello, everybody. Welcome aboard. It's Wednesday. I had to stop and think. We've made it to the halfway point. Another great show lined up today. Fish will be with us. Don Fischer will join us. We'll talk, of course, about Indiana's last road win and preview the game against Purdue tomorrow night. Rick Bozich from WDOB.com, Hall of Fame writer. Bob Kravitz from The Athletic. DJ will join us as well. So we got plenty to get to. Some fun facts. Florida State beat Duke Tuesday night in overtime. That is 13 straight overtime wins for Florida State. That is a Division I record, of course. In the NFL, Tom Brady, the remaining games he has, he is older than all of his opposing coaches remaining in the playoffs. How about that? Or at least on his side. That's crazy, isn't it? That is nuts. How's everybody doing? Not a bad week. Weather got back up there a little bit to raise the temperature. That's always nice. That cold weather is a little more than I can take. How is your Wednesday going? Let's see. Last night, not a lot of action. Baylor finally got back on the winning ways after losing back-to-back games at their number one spot. They go on the road and do it the hard way, beating West Virginia, Huggy Bear, 77-68. I mentioned that Florida State score from last night, 79-78 in overtime. You know, the thing about Duke, they're the only good team in the ACC. They're the only ranked team in the ACC. Now, yeah, that's not going to change that. Florida State's got 5 losses. So every loss that they get in the ACC is going to have to be to an unranked team. Which it's not going to affect them horribly because it's Duke, but they're now 14-3, 4-2 in the ACC. A great game last night in the Big 12 with Kansas and Oklahoma in Norman. Jayhawks hold on for a 67-64 win, number 7 Kansas. As conference play continues to be fun. That's why these COVID pauses, they're tough. Wisconsin, easily over Northwestern, 82-76. Houston, number 10, Houston, 74-55. Number 18, Texas Tech beats Iowa State. Ohio State played Ooey Pooey. How long's it been since you've heard them called that? IUPUI, who was 1-15, 0-8 away from home. Ohio State wins this game 83-37. That may be the most pointless basketball game of this entire season. I don't know that that's even as good as a practice. But who cares? Looking down through there, anything else jumping out at me? Tennessee gets by Vanderbilt 68-60. And that's all of that. Coming up tonight, the schedule. What do we have in the Big Ten? Wisconsin. Oh, that was last night. Got to jump over on me. It won't jump on me. There we go. Iowa's at Rutgers tonight at 8:30. That's on BTN. Minnesota at Penn State has been postponed. So just one Big Ten game tonight for you to catch on to. In all of Division I, there are tons. Need to get the top 25, wherever that pulls down to. But, oh, well, can't see it. But there are tons of games tonight. Like I said, only one in the Big Ten, though, with Minnesota at Penn State being postponed. Holy Cross Lafayette was postponed. Wichita State at Temple is postponed. So that's a good news with only 3 games being postponed out of the rest of those. There's a ton of games on the slate. So plenty to do tonight. How's everybody doing? Appreciate you. Dwayne jumping on. Michael. Jason. Jesse. There you go, Glenn. Where you been, though? Yeah, you come back when they win, don't you? Jason says, need to get Edey and Williams in foul trouble early. Yeah, good luck with that. Use the bench players to the max. They have a ton of weapons. You know, when I was watching Purdue play the other night and watching Zach Edey rebound and just score over top of people because he can just reach over them, I told somebody, I said, forget about trying, even if you have inside position on him, I don't care. You can't worry about blocking him out. You have to block him out of the damn blocks. You have to block him out of the paint. You have to get him away from, I think you have to try to physically block him back and let somebody else, and hope somebody else gets the rebound. Because you're not getting position on him doesn't do much. He just goes over top of you. Ryan, how are you, sir? Jason, how are you? Sean said Northwestern proves again last night how tough this conference is. Gave Wisconsin everything they wanted and more. Yeah, well, we already know that. That's why those opportunities that Indiana had, you know, the opportunity Wisconsin would bother me more than the Penn State one. You went in there with a purpose, and you had them dead to rights, and you let them off. You let them off the hook. So, but it is what it is. Tomorrow night, Indiana welcomes in Purdue. They've lost 9 straight. Can they break that streak? The last win for Indiana basketball over Purdue, February 20th, 2016. That's 2,160 days ago. 5 of these 9 losses have come at Simon Scott Assembly Hall. Is this the year that it stops? I don't know. I don't know that they're ready. I mean, Purdue is obviously a better team. They have more talent. That's just the truth of the matter. They're a top 5 ranked team, people. This would be one of the biggest upsets in the series. I'll have to go back and look, actually, and pull my book out and see, has Indiana ever beaten Purdue beaten a ranked team as an unranked team? Got to have to do some digging on that. But that's the point. I know everyone wants that win, but it would be an upset. What's the line on this game? I haven't even looked yet. Should be able to pull that up rather quickly. I don't think it'll be big, but there's no question Purdue will be probably, I don't know, 4.5, something like that. Let's see. Where's Indiana? I don't see it yet. Iowa is a 3.5-point favorite on the road at Rutgers. Where is, why didn't that game pop up? I'm not seeing it. So if anyone knows that, pop that up there. I'm curious. Ryan says, name a better Purdue team since 1979. Well, they haven't had one. That's back when they went to the 1980 Final Four, I guess you're saying. Good morning, Sam. How are you, sir? Ooh, a little chilly. Oh, you're in Winter Garden. Speaking of Winter Garden, I will be in Winter Garden next week, taking the show on the road. We are going to Montverde Academy. We're going to go down and check out Jalen Hood-Schifino and a couple of Indiana's other recruits, KJ Evans, Derrick Queen. But we will be down there next weekend as Montverde has a tournament. So we'll have a ton of content for you. So looking forward to that. And I'm staying in Winter Garden. So there you go. Man, you could have put me up. Let's see. Tim says they're going from rain and 46 today to ice and snow and 17 tonight in southern Indiana. Whoo! Holy smokes. See, that's just not, there's nothing, no bueno, baby. That's no bueno. Sid asks, is Trace well enough to play? I don't know. I don't know. I'm going to guess yes. I don't think that it was a serious injury, but I don't know. I don't know how he feels. And but he tweeted out he was fine, so I don't think it was I don't think it was that big of a deal. But again, I don't know, so I can't speak for him. But I have not seen anything, but you're not going to, that he's not going to be playing. I'm sure he was sore. Obviously, landed on his butt, his back. You know, that you got a lot of cushion there, but it's still, that's when you hit that area, a lot of weight going down. So it usually leaves a mark, so to say. Wow. Purdue is a 12.5-point favorite. That's a shocker. That's a little surprising to me. I'm going to be honest with you. Sorry, 15? Oh, come on. Are you serious? A 15-point, I'm finding that a little hard to believe. Purdue is a 15-point favorite in this game. I got to find this stupid game on here. Why is this not popping up on mine? I'm on Caesars. But that would be a little shocking. I mean, I'd like to go back and see what Purdue's lines have been against the other Big Ten teams. When has Indiana ever been a 15-point dog in Simon Scott Assembly Hall? That's just, I'll take that. If that's accurate, I'll take that all day long. I don't understand why it's not popping up on mine. I'll have to pull that up later, but that's a little surprising. Wow. You have to dig into that. That can't be right. I agree, Joe. That can't be right. Yeah. Because I will take all that and more, baby. 15 points. Whoo. Yeah, we'll have to dig into that. That can't be right. We got to take a break. The great Don Fischer is going to join us next. Wasn't with us on Monday, so we get to talk to him today. Looking forward to that. Rick Bozich will be with us. Bob Kravitz. Derrick Jackson. We got it all going on today, man. Great show. Back with it. Brought to you by our good friends from Southern Stone Restaurant, located at Patterson and Rogers in Bloomington, Indiana. It's where they have the coaches shows every Monday night, 7:05. Don Fischer and Mike Woodson, Inside Indiana Basketball. We're back with more Indiana Sports Beat Radio right after this.
We'll be right back to the golf club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington and Southern Stone Restaurant.
Whether it's a celebration. Good morning, Mr. Don.
Hi, Jimbo. How are you?
I cannot complain. How was the trip to Nebraska?
Well, other than long, it was fine. But, flying commercially is not a fun deal. So when you have to leave Lincoln and go to Denver to get back to Indianapolis, it's not fun.
Wow.
I drove
going even further west.
Yeah.
I went with Kevin Brockway, but George Montgomery was in the vehicle. So I got you beat.
You do. You absolutely
all the way
do.
to Iowa and back.
So I didn't see any of you guys. Where'd they put you?
We were opposite of you. I meant to come say hi, and it's like time just slips away so quickly.
Yeah.
We were opposite corner of where you were sitting.
I got
So,
you.
like you're to your right, would have been to your right.
Okay.
Nice seatings down low.
Yeah, I mean, literally, I like where we sit to do a broadcast. I love being across the floor from the benches. That's where we used to always be back in the day. But actually, the location we have at home is probably the best location in the Big Ten.
Yeah,
at least
I was Carver Hawkeye is unique because it's that only one I could think of is that one level.
Well, we used to be, where you guys sit now. We were to the left of to the right of that, just in the same area, being up a little bit, which is perfect. They used to have a great spot for us, but now we sit in front of right next to the bench, and you can't see crap because literally, you got Woody standing there, you got officials standing there. Half the floor is obscured for half the time, so I don't like that at all. Hey, thanks for the Jennifer Land came through immediate. I mean, it's like,
see,
so
that's why I knew I could get it done. I'm like going, you know what? I'm going to get this done in a faster manner. So I knew it.
Am I going to get a W or a 1099 from her?
No, well, no,
it's just no. Past year?
No, it'll be the same. We'll just keep it the same. From me, from us.
Okay. I mean, I've got to turn that in, but if there's no 1099, technically, technically, I probably wouldn't have to turn it in. But
that one came from this year, though, already, right?
I didn't get a 1099.
No, I meant the
20 seconds.
The latest check came for this year, though, right?
Oh yeah. I got.
Okay, so that wouldn't be until next year anyway.
All right, here we go.
Every week, Monday through Friday. If we're not on a station where you live, we should be. Ask for Indiana Sports Beat Radio. This segment is brought to you by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington. Now back to the golf club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington and Southern Stone Restaurant.
Welcome back. It is a Wednesday. We've made it halfway through the week, and a special treat today is Don Fischer's with us. Wasn't with us on Monday because he was traveling. Indiana played Nebraska to a road win on Monday, so maybe that was good luck.
Well, the good luck is, in my opinion, Jim, is that Woody wore a sport coat.
I can't believe you were going to say, the funny thing is, I'm like, man, I won't have to hear about this anymore because they're on the road. They're wearing the MLK shirt. So I knew he wasn't going to be wearing a suit. And I look on the TV and I'm like, damn it, he's got a sport coat on. I'm like, are you kidding me? Of course they're going to win this game.
Well, so I actually said that to him in the post-game show. I said, well, Woody, apparently you best not go to any away ball game from this point on without a sport coat. And he started laughing. So at least he got the joke part of it. I don't know if that'll change his wardrobe on the road. But until they lose, I would continue to wear a sport coat on the road. So,
Yeah, you got to stick with what's winning, man. Exactly. Hey, before I forget this, John, pull this up because I'll get going and forget. But we had Charlie on last week, the same day as we had Matt Taylor. And there is no one that can do an impersonation of Don Fischer. It just, I've heard them all. They're just hard to do. But this is about as close as somebody's going to get.
Let's give Charlie a little bit of a flashback here. All right, so across the jab line, it's Charlie Miller. Miller right side, hands off to Rob Turner. Turner drives it baseline, kicks it over to the left corner to Michael Lewis. Top of the key to A.J. Guyton. Guyton now between the hash marks. Guyton now with 2 to shoot, hands it off to Charlie Miller for a deep 3. He got it. And Indiana has their 14th point of the ball game and their biggest lead at 5 at 14-9.
Oh, he is awesome, but he worked in the between the hash marks. So I was like, "Oh, hey man, you're not doing a Colts game. Come on."
Yeah, the hash marks. I was just when he said that as I'm sitting here listening to him, when he said that, I'm thinking, is this a football or a basketball game?
Yeah, I didn't catch that until this morning. I was listening to him like, wait a minute, hash marks, what are you doing?
When did Charlie become a tight end?
Oh, that was so great. And I forgot to pull it up last week. Wanted to make sure I got that in today. But yeah, he does the only one. He
does a great job. He's funny. He's one of those people. I've known Matt forever. I mean, I did the wedding intros for his wedding. Back in the day, and he's just a great young man and really a really terrific broadcaster. I mean,
well, you didn't call play-by-play of him coming down the aisle, did you? That would have been really cool.
No, he didn't do that. I don't want to point out tears from people crying and all that kind of stuff. I'm not real good at that sympathy stuff. No.
Oh man, you can make a great commercial. Yeah, I just thought about the man. There you go. That's a great commercial idea. I'll have to keep that in the back of my head. Indiana welcomes in their foe that they have not been able to beat for 9 consecutive times. The Purdue Boilermakers come into town, and it's not just a regular Purdue team. This one's probably the best Purdue team that has come in all those 9 tries prior.
Yeah, they've matched the best starts in Matt Painter's era at Purdue, 15-2 at this point. They're ranked in the top 5. It's a really good basketball team. It's going to be a huge challenge for this IU ball club to keep that record intact at Simon Scott Assembly Hall this year, because there's no team that will come in here, I don't think, that it will have a better opportunity than Purdue, just because of the talent level that they bring. And you have Trace Jackson Davis. It's a little bit of a question mark. I think he's going to play, but will he be really sore? Continue, from the fall that he took in the Nebraska game. There's all kinds of issues in that regard. So we'll just have to wait and see. I do think Indiana's capable of knocking them off, but they're going to have to play a terrific game and probably the best game of the year to get it done.
Well, the biggest thing is they're going to have to play a complete game, and that's the thing we haven't seen much of. Very little, as a matter of fact. Ohio State was a good example of that, but this is a complete team that they're playing, and they're going to have to play more than a complete game because they're not as good. Purdue just has better talent right now. That's just a fact of the matter, and they played together. These guys have all played together for more than a season, so it's going to take a yeoman's effort, and probably guys doing things better than they have done them this year. Parker Stewart's going to have to hit shots. All those things are going to have to happen and fall into place.
Yep, I think Parker's going to be a critical factor. The three-point shooting is going to be a factor in this ball game, and they are a terrific three-point shooting ball club themselves. You're going to have to stop that. You're going to have to keep them off the boards a little bit, and it's going to be hard to do because you've got 2 of the best in the business. In the Big Ten, I should say, and maybe in the country, and Edey and Travion Williams, and they're getting terrific play from their guards. And Jaden Ivey is just a load to deal with. His quickness, his athleticism, all that he brings to the table. And Eric Hunter's starting to play much better basketball for them. Isaiah Thompson was the starter early on. I think Eric Hunter's kind of taken that role away from him. And Mason Gillis has all of a sudden showed up as a three-point shooter too. I mean, he shot the ball as good as anybody in their team from three-point land, and he's a physical guard, wing, so to speak. So this is going to be a huge challenge. The one thing that has impressed me about Purdue as much as anything, no wonder they redshirted Brian Waddell and the Wren kid. They've got so much talent. They are a 10 deep team. I mean, literally they can play 10 different guys out there, maybe even 11, and not walk away with anything negative. So this is going to be Indiana's biggest challenge of the year, especially in a home floor ball game. I think, and they're going to have to play him again in the last regular season game at Purdue. So they're going to face him twice, but Indiana's lost 9 in a row. And that pride factor will kick in this ball game, I think. The crowd will be fantastic. And it's just going to be a heck of a show. There's just no question about it. And incidentally, before I let you say another word, I have to be out of here by 9:15.
Gotcha. Noted. You just talked about the environment. I was talking with someone yesterday. This should be the most electric environment probably since the North Carolina game. I'm thinking maybe going back to when that was like 5 years ago. This is just people aren't expecting a win. They're hoping for a win, but this is probably the most hope that they've had.
That's true. I would argue that you're probably right in that regard. This is a team. I mean, Indiana's lost 9 straight. They don't want to make it 10. And the crowd doesn't want it. I mean, this Hoosier Nation is starving for a win over Purdue. And how they get it or when they get it is critical, but how they get it, it doesn't matter as long as it's a win. If it's a 1 point, triple overtime, quadruple overtime, whatever it takes to get it done. Indiana's fans want Indiana to finally end this struggle that they've had over the last 9 ball games in several years. So, so from that point, I think you're right. I think it's going to be an electric crowd, and it should be a terrific battle. I think Indiana, if they play up to their capability, they will have every opportunity to win this ball game.
Yeah, I think that starts with Xavier Johnson staying out of foul trouble. That's going to be a big key for him because they're going to need his defense tonight. They're going to need Rob Finney's defense, but we talked about Jaden Ivey. He's one of the best in the game. So they're going to need those guys to not get into foul trouble and stay on the floor.
Well, in the same scenario for Indiana's front line guys. I mean, you can't get Trace in trouble. You got to have Race out there. George Geronimo suddenly given this team, and I say suddenly, he's actually been doing it for some time now, but he had his most minutes in the other night, almost a half a ball game played against Nebraska, and he played terrific. Knocked down mid-range jump shots, which was really key. I'd rather see him do that than taking the threes out there, even though I know he was a good three-point shooter in high school and that kind of thing. He's still much stronger, I think, with that 15, 16, 17-foot jump shot. And that changes everything. And then you've got Trey Galloway back again, which I think really helps this ball club. He's going to give Indiana – I'd love to see Galloway on Jaden Ivey. I think that's the one – guy that may be able to stay with him more so than anybody else. Not that Finney or Xavier Johnson can't. I like Trey Galloway's defensive prowess out there. I think he's a 6'5" guy that so he's not going to give any size away to Jaden Ivey. So, and he's also quick. So, long story short, India's going to have to play great. Everybody's going to have to contribute, and I think it's going to be just a terrific matchup. I really do.
Yeah. You talk about Jordan. He's the smoothest 15-foot shooter on that team, I think. His shots look like silk. The other night he had a 15-footer, and I'm like, well, that was just as smooth as can be. I'm like, holy cow. He used to be doing that a lot. That looked really, really good.
Well, and that and I think that's the thing. I think Miller Kopp is the same way. I mean, he has a good-looking 15-foot mid-range jump shot, but they don't use them. They stick. Exactly. They want to get out there behind that 3-point arc and loft them up from there. And you got 2 or 3 guys in this team that really have a good-looking 15-foot jump shot, and I think they need to use more of that. And I fake the 3 and then step in there for a 15-foot jump shot. Why not? I mean, and it gives you it also forces the defense to do something different. And they can't get ready for it. You know what I mean?
Well, that's the alarm call anyway. That's perfect because we want to get you out of here just on time. So
I appreciate it.
Don, thank you, sir. We'll see you tomorrow night. Have a good one. The great Don Fischer joining us here on Indiana Sports Speed Radio as he prepares for tomorrow night's game. Looking forward to that. John, are we at a break yet, or where are we?
You can take an early one if you want, or you can keep going. It's up to you.
Well, let's keep going. When's the break time? How many more minutes?
You can go another 5 minutes if you want.
Cool. All right. Don had to cut out early, but yeah, that was fun. But yeah, that he said something that stuck out to me the other night when Geronimo, holy cow, he took a shot from about 15, and I'm like, and it wasn't he caught the ball, just turned and shot, and I mean quickly, but it looked smooth. He squared his shoulders up, and the release was just silk, and it was nothing but net. And I was like, whoa. And that's something me and Don agree with. And I was already thinking, Indiana's offense either comes from a dunk or under the basket or behind the three-point line. They are not utilizing Miller Kopp and those short-range jumpers, Jordan Geronimo on those short-range jumpers. And I think that that's something this offense is missing because defenses know it's either going to be outside or inside, period. There's no middle ground. You don't have Parker Stewart driving to the basket. So, that's not going to happen. Kopp's not driving to the basket. So, that's not going to happen. Indiana's kind of easy to scout. Stopping them, I'm not saying is easy. Stopping Trace Jackson Davis, I'm not saying is easy, but they're kind of easy to scout. I think they need a little more diversity to their offense and those short-range jumpers, which, obviously something that Trace Jackson Davis needs to work on, but that's not something he needs to work on now. I got into a discussion with someone a while back. Yeah, Trace Jackson needs that jumper, but the Indiana team does not need that from him right now. They need that from Jordan Geronimo or Miller Kopp. They could sure use it. But I don't know that's from him. But yeah, number 4, Purdue coming in. This would be an upset of epic proportions. Indiana is an unranked team. I'm gonna after the break, I'm gonna grab my book and see if I can find out, has Indiana ever beaten Purdue? Of course, it's rare that Purdue is ranked in Indiana. Over the last few years, it hadn't been, but prior to that, it would have been rare for this to even be the case. So I'm pretty much, it would have had to have happened in the last 9 games, I'm going to guess. But who knows? I have to find out. Someone knows that, tell me. Get off of there. Motion, the opportunities will come. There's a reason why Woody's not running the motion offense. He played under it. He knows what it is. So I think he's added a lot of the NBA elements to it because that's what they're going to see. You have to have smart ball players to run that motion offense. Jason says that Geronimo reminds him of, I think he's saying Victor. Very athletic. He is extraordinarily athletic, but he has more capabilities than Vic. He can play in the middle. He can shoot from 3 and play in the middle, get rebounds. He's much more athletic. I shouldn't say much. He's more athletic. I think he's more athletic than Vic Oladipo. I think can become a better all-around player. Vic developed a shot. It was freaky athletic. You get to the rim and get up. He can get up. But I think that they're a little just kind of different. It's weird. But I'm telling you, I think that Jordan Geronimo can become a spectacular player. I mean, you talk about development, let him develop. Let those guys develop. We're going to take a break. What's up next there, John Boy?
In the middle of the next segment, so it's not going to be right at the beginning, but shortly we'll be joined by our good friend Derrick Jackson.
Cool. Looking forward to that. Later on, we'll talk to Rick Bozich and Bob Kravitz as well. We got plenty more coming up for you here on Indiana Sports Beat Radio, brought to you by our good friends at Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington. If you're looking for a great deal, there's no place better than Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington. $0 down, 0% APR financing. They have got the deals for you. We're back with more Indiana Sports Beat Radio right after this.
We'll be right back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington and Southern Stone Restaurant.
Sports on television.
Yeah, that spread, there's no way that's right.
And I don't even see a line. I've looked up myself.
It's not
I
out.
don't even,
It won't come out until today or this evening, probably.
that must
I didn't
be
think
a
about that.
prediction. Someone must have predicted that. I bet it'll be Purdue by 6-ish.
Yeah, I like that. Mix between Vic and OG. Yeah. He can shoot better than OG could for sure.
OG developed a shot later. I mean, I know he wasn't around for a full 4 years, but
He did, but he is not as smooth as Jordan Geronimo is right now at the same time. Jordan Geronimo, that dude needs to keep working on that shot. He will become a good wing player.
be another diamond in the rough, a non-Tom Crean diamond in the rough. Seems like only Tom Crean could pull those guys for a while.
Archie Miller recruited this dude, so
I know.
Actually, I don't know. Well, I don't know who actually found him. That's the thing, but
isn't that normally Kenya Hunter territory out that direction, or am I mistaken?
Thinking so. It ain't Archie Miller territory, that's for sure.
He only did like the in-state recruiting, I feel like.
Well, yeah.
Coach Yah, I think, does more of the South. Or is Kenya Hunter Coach Yah? Or I think that's, in my opinion, that's Yasir.
Man, this says that Purdue is shooting 40% from three-point. Good God.
That's nuts.
That's a team, dude.
Ross is also saying 14.5 favorite. I don't know where they're seeing
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Well, there's probably some places you can get advanced lines.
Yeah. I don't have any betting at. It's illegal here in Kentucky still. Well, hold on. Ross lives in Kentucky.
There we go.
There's our boy, Derrick Jackson, right on time. We appreciate the little extra movement today, DJ, to get here a little earlier.
Hey, no problem, man. How you guys doing, man?
Pretty good, buddy. How are you?
Good, man. Good. A little chilly down here for South Florida. It's not the norm. Of course, when that happens down here, people get they start wearing big coats like they're in Alaska, or like they, something like that.
I didn't think anybody had coats down there.
All right, here we go.
Well, I tell you what, you can get them at
Now in Bloomington.
Today's guest is brought to you by Reynolds Family Dentistry of Sellersburg. You need $1 million smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you'll get with Reynolds Family Dentistry.
Now back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington and Southern Stone Restaurant.
Welcome back. It is Wednesday. Derrick Jackson joins us now. DJ, what's up, man?
Hey, nothing much, man. Just trying to stay warm in this so-called chilly weather that we have down here in South Florida. I think it's a really cold, like 55, 57 degrees. I mean, that's really cold down here in South Florida.
Yeah. We've been here. Some of our Sam and some other people that live down there that are listen to us been popping up their temperatures, and I'm like, yeah, whatever. I don't want to hear it. It was in the 40s up here yesterday, but I just saw that it's supposed to drop tonight to the teens, man. I'm like, no bueno.
I wouldn't know anything about that being down in Southwest Florida.
Yeah, man. How's it been going with you, man? What's new?
Hey, nothing, man. I'm just following this recruiting news here and just thinking about, things with IU football. And I wonder if this Connor Bozich guy, if he's really the answer or not. I mean, we certainly had other options in the portal. and I think this is where, you know, Indiana sometimes Indiana football put themselves do themselves a disservice, is because we don't go for, you know, big time quarterbacks. And you know, Coach Allen, you know, he's a defensive minded guy. You know, kind of turned things around. We tanked last year. I mean, you know, gave up 33 points a game. It's not gonna cut it, man. We need some real star power in that you know, in that quarterback room. I mean, we've got Donovan McCullough. I mean, he's definitely the quarterback of the future. But I just think this guy is going to be forced into a starting role. I don't care who we bring in, unless we bring in a big gun from somewhere else.
Yeah, I would expect that he is what I would think is going to probably be the starter next year as of right now, unless Jack Tuttle is able to beat him out, or Donovan McCulley. We don't know. You have a new OC. I'm not sure what that's going to be like. We don't know which quarterback will respond most positively to his scheme, his coaching methods. Sometimes a coach, as you know, seems to blend with a particular player better than another. For some, it's not even personal. It's just how it happens. We don't know. We'll have to wait and see how that turns out. But the quarterback, yeah, that's a question. Without question, it's a question.
Big question mark. And then, you know, DJ Matthews, I'm hoping, you know, return. I mean, if we get the quarterback sake, we've got to have somebody. We've got to be able to open up holes so the running back can run. We got to be able to throw the football. So there are a lot of questions to be answered surrounding Indiana football coming up here, you know, in 2022. And one other thing, I'm wondering if Coach Allen still has the locker room. Administration's got to be thinking about that. I mean, you know, love each other. That's great when you're winning, but it becomes a horse of a different color when you're losing and you go from 6-1, you know, one game away from the Big Ten East Championship, and now, you know, you go to 2-10. Defense, 33 points a game. I mean, we got a lot of issues to address in a short, very, very short period of time.
Yeah, and some serious coaching turnover. Like I said, you've got a new DC, a new OC, new defensive line coach, and you know, defense was not where they were having their problems.
Right.
Most the problems were coming on the offensive side of the ball. What's the line going to be like? That's going to be a gigantic question mark, because I don't care who's a quarterback. If you're running for your life, it doesn't much matter.
It doesn't matter, man. It's not like we got Lamar Jackson back there, okay? So we need to really shore up. I think it starts in the trenches and it ends in the trenches. We need to start there, and then we need to, you know, address obviously the quarterback issue. And then, you know, like you said, man, Walt Bell, he's new OC. I think they just hired a new DC too. Didn't they just hire a new DC?
Yep, yeah. You got a new DC, you got a new defensive coordinator and offensive coordinator.
Right.
And defensive line coach.
Right. So, I mean, everybody's new. It's going to be a response game from the players, how they're going to react to schemes. Like you said, how is that defensive coordinator or an offensive coordinator going to best use the talent he got? Because I know without a doubt, this was Mullins last year. His little brother is coming in. We've got, I think one of the safeties transferred up to the other school up there. I don't mention their name, especially. I never mention their name, but you know what I'm talking about.
Three of them transferred up there.
Yeah. So, it's going to be a challenge. I mean, not just for the players, it's going to be a challenge for the OC and DC as well.
Yeah. Chad Wilt just brought in as the new defensive coordinator, linebackers coach. And then on the line side, daggone it. Why am I drawing a blank on his name? Came in from Texas Tech.
Paul Randolph.
There you go. Paul Randolph from Texas Tech, which actually looked like a pretty good hire. He's not on the list yet. They don't have him on the
don't have him on the website yet listed as a coach.
Yeah. Man, they got to update that.
Yeah.
They got everybody else up there. But
I'm good.
He hasn't been announced as official yet, just to clarify.
He
hasn't been announced by IU.
Okay, that's why they have to go through the background checks and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
But the amazing thing on the defensive side, it didn't matter that they had those. Those are some major changes, obviously. DC and line coach, but yet it did not seem to affect the recruiting. The guys kept coming. That amazed me.
Yeah. But we got to get guys in there, like I said, man. I mean, we've got to get, and I've long since said this, man. We've got to get playmakers. We've got to get players that can break games open. You understand what I'm saying? We've got to get players like that. And again, it's unfortunate not to beat this into the ground. It's unfortunate that Mike Penix, for his past 3 seasons, he was hurt. Guys going on, and we wish him well. But, we've got to get some durability. We've got to get some players that can break the game open. We need somebody that you're going to throw that ball to out in the flat, and he's going to take it 88 yards untouched. Okay? That's what Indiana football needs. You know what I'm saying? We don't need some guy that's going to catch the ball and get 5 yards and, and that's it. We need a punt returner that's going to break the game open from the very beginning and get this crowd into the game, man.
Yeah, Indiana used to have those guys. It's kind of not been that way in the last couple of years, but it's been a weird couple of years. I mean, COVID has really jinxed things up. It's hard to tell teams from year to year but next year is going to be a telling year.
It's going to be a telling
Indiana
year,
cannot. But the sad thing is, Derrick, I look through the schedule. I see maybe 4 to 5 wins max, unless this offense is something that I am not expecting. I don't see the wins.
Well, but yeah, it's hard to see right now because of the season that we came off for. But again, like I said, you know what? And like I've been trying to, talk to some of the, coaches and stuff over the past year. Listen, man, come down here and get some of these Florida. Listen, man, come get some of these Florida guys with this speed, man. I'm talking about come down here to the 239. Get some of these guys that can break the game open. We need playmakers. We need a Deion Sanders type guy on that field that, hey, that opposing quarterback can say, hey, listen, I'm not going to throw that way. Don't kick to that guy. He gets the ball in his hands. It's over with. I don't know why I've tried to preach this for the longest. We've got guys that have running 4-2, but you don't want to get the guy because he's too small. Well, what is too small nowadays? You need to win games, Indiana.
Yeah, Josh says Indiana needs their version of Wandale Robinson. Exactly, a kid that left was from down the Lexington, Kentucky area. Left there, went to Nebraska, comes back to Kentucky and gives them a big old boost. But yeah, if Indiana can keep the top players in state that don't go to Michigan or Ohio State, it would certainly change things for them. But they've got to get it back on track now and make it an attractive place for in-state players to come.
Yeah,
they're getting the guys from Florida and all that, but you've got to put up winning, or they don't care.
They don't care, man. Let me tell you something. Wins. Listen, man, if you ain't got the wins, and I love Coach Tom Allen. He's a very emotional, sensitive guy. He's a player. He's a player's coach, and he does all that. You know what I'm saying? And I support Coach Allen 100%. But Coach, we have to win games this year. I'm sure he knows that. We've got to win games this year at all costs. And I'm telling you, anything less than a bowl game this year, I don't see any more longevity in that staff being there if we don't get to at least a bowl game this year.
Yeah, and like I said, I mean, it's going to take for Indiana to get to a bowl game. They're going to have to upset at least one, if not potentially 2 teams. And I haven't seen that in them since a couple of years ago. Basically since Kalen DeBoer left. I don't know that I've seen them have the ability that I thought that they had the ability to do this. But can't have to wait to see what Walt Bell's like, what he can do. Right. I'm not judging him off. I'm certainly not judging him off of the deal at up there in Connecticut where they don't play football. But that's a man. Tom Allen is under the gun, and that hire it didn't overwhelm anyone. And when you're kind of backs against the wall and you make a hire that doesn't overwhelm anyone, you better be right.
You better be right. You better be right.
I mean, this is his own job is kind of starts to become on the line here. I mean, everybody and who doesn't love Tom Allen? He's done for the program what no one else was able to do, but quickly it just as quickly as it seemed to have come, it went away. And you have to see lasting effects that it's consistent, that it has the opportunity to stay.
Right. And again, it starts at the top. And again, I think, listen, I'm all for Coach Tom Allen. Hope he sticks around. But if not, then we've got to look at getting a coach that can turn the program around. You know, you got to start attracting this star power that you have here. You know, so it's
then we have to wonder how much is NIL affecting this now. Because getting guys to come to Indiana was a school like Indiana was difficult,
right?
Because they weren't the big kid on the block, but now you've got NIL involved. The rich are going to get richer. There's no doubt about that. And I'm not even talking about Indiana trying to compete to in the upper levels. I don't know that that's even. I think that I don't know that that's even within the realm of possibility anymore because of the changes that have happened in college football in the last year to year and a half. I think they can always compete in the Big Ten and be a player, but I don't think that they can be a player nationally ever now with the changes that have come, unless some massive changes come for Indiana where someone comes along and does the stupid NIL stuff like the big teams. I mean, how else?
I don't even think, and it's not a necessity to be a successful program. I mean, NIL just came out. I don't even know that we have any players that have NIL deals. I think maybe Tewan Mullen, I think Tewan Mullen is the only one that I can think of at this point that would have it. But I think that's something that Coach Tom Allen and his staff, you know what, guys, we don't even need to address NIL. What we need to address is right here in our own backyard. We need to address winning football games, getting the players that we need here and getting them up to speed to win football games. That's the first thing they need to address. Then we can, because nobody cares about NIL deals if you're not winning. Nobody cares about that.
You got that. Hey, what's coming up next for you, man?
Me, hey, you know what? I'm just, hey man, I'm trying to get my golf game right. First and foremost.
Good luck with that.
Yeah, good luck with that one. And I'm going to get up that way, Jim, to catch a couple of basketball games before March Madness starts, because I'm really excited about that piece of Indiana athletics right about now.
Well, tomorrow night's a big one. They welcome in the Boilermakers tomorrow night.
Yes, it is. And I think we're
going to snap a 9-game losing streak to the Boilers, man. It'd be nice to see that.
Absolutely.
Well, DJ, brother, thank you as always. We appreciate you. Looking forward to doing it again next week.
No problem. Absolutely. I'll see you guys again next week, guys.
Thank you. Derrick Jackson joining us here on Indiana Sports Beat Radio, brought to you by our good friends down in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry. If you're looking for that championship smile, go see Dr. J. He'll give it to you. Hey, we got more coming up. Rick Bozich, Bob Kravitz will join us later on. Indiana Sports Beat Radio back right after this.
We'll be right back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington and Southern Stone Restaurant.
If you're in the market.
All right, they're going to join us at 10 o'clock.
Okay. So.
And they're going to stay till 10:25-ish because they have Mike Woodson at 10:30.
Right. I wish we could cut out short. God damn it.
Yeah, unfortunately, we cannot do that today.
Because I have Mike Woodson at 10:30 as well. So FYI, I will be jumping off. Right at 10:30.
All right.
You know what?
Or here, go. What you could do is you can end it at 10. Well, yeah, just jump off at 10:30. We'll end it, and I'll have a final. I'm trying to think of what to do because you only have a few minutes left to fill.
I think we don't take a break. I'll let them go.
Well,
We
yeah,
just don't
the
take
break
that last break.
The break doesn't matter. It's about the final the time we need. Because remember, we started at 10:40, or excuse me, 8:44 today.
What?
Remember, we started at 8:44 today, not 8:34.
So yeah, but what are you telling me?
We didn't start. We started later. We don't. So we're not going to have enough time finished at 10:30. Is what I'm saying.
Fuck.
Wait, here. You could, if you want to cut out. I'm trying to think of what I could play that's short.
You could play something from Brian Evans the other night.
Yeah, I can grab. Yeah, I'll work on that during these next couple of segments. I'll pull up what we had from Brian Evans, and what you'll do is, I'm trying to think. Yeah, you'll dip out whenever you're ready with Bob and Rick, 10:25, whatever time it may be. It doesn't have to be right at 10:30. Dip out whenever you're ready. Shoot, we only got 15 seconds till we come back. But act like you're going to break. Say we've got a segment with Brian Evans to wrap things up, and then that's just all you got to do. Sound good? Okay, here we go.
Or get you in the home you want today. Cheryl at IndyHomePros.com.
This segment is brought to you by Remax Advanced Realty, Indy Home Pros team by Cheryl Sizemore. Now back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington and Southern Stone Restaurant.
Welcome back. It is a Wednesday. We have made it halfway through the week. Indiana Sports Beat Radio coming to you from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios on this halfway point. Rick Bozich coming up next, along with Bob Kravitz. We'll be talking with Woody today. We'll hear from him tomorrow before the show. I don't know how much pressure is actually on him right now. They've lost 9 straight, but he was involved with none of them. Although there's no one that wants to get rid of that more than he does. I assure you that. I'm not sure that this is the year. And it's not that Indiana doesn't have enough talent to upset Purdue. They do. I just haven't seen them put it together. I have not seen them put together a full effort that I think could do that, accomplish that. I haven't seen them play that game. The game against Ohio State, I don't know that would get it done. They're going to have to hit 3-point shots in the first half and the second half. They're going to have to not turn the ball over in the first half and the second half. They're going to have to make substitutions and not give up big runs. This is a Purdue team that is shooting 40% from behind the 3-point line as a freaking team. I don't need to tell you how good that is. I would hope. But yeah, this is a tall task for Indiana, for anybody. But Rutgers did it. The thing is, Purdue didn't go into the Rutgers game thinking they were playing a rival in Indiana. Jason asks, who do you put on Stefanovic? Good question. Don said he wouldn't mind seeing Trey on Jaden Ivey. I just don't think he can keep up with Jaden Ivey. I don't know that he's quick enough. But I don't know. Stefanovic, I think you're going to rotate guys. I don't. Kopp's not quick enough to keep up with him. Jordan Geronimo would do fantastic, but we'll see how much he gets, how many opportunities he gets for that. Galloway would actually be, that's who I would have on him, is Galloway personally, because I don't know that Galloway can keep up with Jaden Ivey. So we'll see, though. Josh points out that Rod Harper Jr. also went nuts. He says that he thinks that IU needs to defend the three, no live ball turnovers, and get some transition buckets, beating Boilers down the floor. Lastly, have a guy get hot. Yeah, you're going to, like I said, somebody is going to have a night. It could be Trace Jackson Davis, but if it's Trace Jackson Davis, somebody else has to have a night. It doesn't have to be a Trace Jackson Davis night, but you're going to have a guy that, or two guys that hit 3 threes, or one guy that's hitting 4, maybe 5 threes. Someone else is going to have a night for Indiana to upset. And that's in addition to inside play. Indian Nation says that Galloway isn't afraid to drive to the basket. Well, no, he's not afraid to drive to the basket, but he does that most of the time without a plan on when he gets there. He's looking to pass most of the time when he drives the basket. He's actually driving the baseline most of the time. And I sent out a tweet the other day. He's just got to stop doing that. It's come to the point to where you expect it. He's going to drive the baseline, look for someone to pass to. And he's going to jump out of bounds and look for someone to pass to. It's kind of old hat. You can't do things without a plan, in my opinion. Kenneth said the X is going to have to knock down his open threes. Yeah, you cannot have a 1-for-5 night from X or Rob Finney. You cannot have 1-for-5 nights from anybody if you're going to upset a team like Purdue. You've got to have guys that are either taking good quality shots and hitting. I'd rather see Xavier be 2-for-5. That's from 3 but you can't have these 1-for-6 nights anymore, man. And you can't have multiple guys having 1-for-6 nights and think you're going to win games in this league. Not in the upper half. Sean says he expects Woody has been preparing for his game for some time. He knows how important this is. He would love to see a surprise, maybe an offensive, defensive wrinkle. I don't think so. I don't think that's not Woody's MO, man. He's not going to change anything. I can't say he's not going to change anything for this game, because I do wonder, since Purdue does not, they've got the Twin Towers and Zach Edey and Travion Williams, but they don't play at the same time like Race and Trace. Josh says this could be one of those games where a game like Bates has a career night for upset. That's what I'm talking about, though. Someone off the grid, and not necessarily off the grid. Parker Stewart's not off the grid, but if he had a 15-point night, that's not been happening a lot lately. Tim said maybe Finney will hit a few tonight. Well, that would be good. Cheryl, really hoping this is a big game for Rob. Well, that would be kind of cool for him, being from West Lafayette. But we'll see. Like I said, it would be an upset of epic proportions. Someone actually put up, and I missed that. They actually put up the games that where Indiana has won as an unranked team over a ranked Purdue team. Here we go. Sam, thank you. Most recent unranked IU victories over Purdue basketball on January 27th, 2004 versus number 1 Purdue. Beat them 63-58 on January 18th. In 1998, they beat number 9 Purdue 94-88, and on January 3rd, 1988 versus number 2. So that's what you've got to go back to 88. You've got to go back to 98. And then was it 2004? So only 3 times ever. And it's been a while. Well, it's been a while since they beat them. But 2004, 17 years. 17 years since an unranked Indiana team beat a ranked Purdue team. Does it stop tonight? We'll see. Or tomorrow night, rather. Keep trying to get there quicker. But thank you, Sam. I appreciate that. But yeah, that shows you now also the times where Indiana was unranked and Purdue was ranked, not that great. I thought I took that off. I think this is going to be a great environment, though, without question. Man, is it going to be loud and proud. It'll be fun. It will be a fun environment to be in. Looking forward to that aspect of it. That definitely changes things. And you know what? That's something that you have to put into play as well. Purdue has not played in an environment this season like they're probably going to play in Thursday night. You would hope that it would be, without question, the most raucous, toughest environment they have faced. You have to make life difficult. If the fans don't make life difficult, you need that. It causes communication errors. And it helps, obviously. There's a reason teams have winning records at home versus on the road. I'm curious as who guards Zach Edey? Do they switch off? Is it Trace? Is it Race? I think it's Race. I think Race draws the assignment. And like I said, you can't try to, even if you have position on that dude, you can't just block him out. You have to block him out of the damn paint. He just reaches over you. And that's not illegal. There's no such thing as over the back. People, there's no such thing as a foul called over the back. Does not exist anymore. You can reach over, as long as you don't push or have excessive contact, they're not going to call it. And he's 7'4". He just reaches above you. Saw him do it the other night, scoring over guys who had him blocked out. No, I haven't seen this, Sean. The suit up push from the students. Wear your suits to the game. Oh, that's kind of funny. I did not see that, Sean. So apparently the students have a suit up push for people to wear suits to the game. All the talk about Woody and, well, the staff not winning on the road because they were wearing sweats on the road, which I'm not into jinxes and all that stuff, but that's why I really wish he did not wear the damn suit the other night, because you know you're going to win that game. Why do you wear a suit on the road against Nebraska when you know you're going to win? You could have put all that stuff to bed, man. Daggone it. Now we got to keep dealing with it. But that's pretty cool. We'll see how many. it's going to be wild to see the students if many of them follow through with that. Unfortunately, where my media seat is right next to the students, and man, or they're behind me, beside me, and in front of me. But that'd be a pretty good look. And that's, you know what? And I was talking about that the other day too. This is the kind of stuff that Indiana students need to be doing, period. They need to start bringing their own excitement. Start turning it into an event. The Cameron Crazies, Duke students, the Izzone, those guys. Turn it into something. That carries over, man. That's a mental thing. And it carries over. It carries over to players. Howie says that Edie is a gamer or the real deal. No question about that, man. That's Yao Ming 2.0. I keep calling him. Yao Ming 2.0. He could go pro, and I'm sure he will if he wants to after this season. And then Purdue has got guys that are redshirting, waiting just to take his place. Purdue has guys redshirting that Indiana could use right now. Josh says Woody may go the UK Ohio State Sweet 16 route in 2011. Defend Sullinger and defend the other three tight. No help. Cats upset the Buckeyes that day. We'll see if they change anything up. I don't know that you could do that with Jaden Ivey on the roster. But we'll see. Jason says he thinks Race and Durr on Edie. Push him out of the paint. It's exactly what you have to do. You cannot let him be around the rim. He'll get the rebound or the bucket. Tim thinks TJG and Geronimo can back up or disrupt some of Edie's shots. Well, we'll see. We will see. That's why they play the games, folks. Let's see. I want to make sure I didn't miss anything. Is Matt? No, that's tomorrow. We close to a break, John?
Yes, sir.
All right. Let's do it. When's Rick and Bob coming on?
Next.
Perfect. Bob Kravitz, Rick Bozich on Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Brought to you by our good friends from Remax Realty. If you're looking for a home in the Indianapolis area, reach out to our friend Cheryl Sizemore. With over 2 decades of experience, could be the difference between you getting the home you want and not. Cheryl at IndyHomePros.com. That's where you can find her. We're back with more Indiana Sports Beat Radio right after this.
We'll be right back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington and Southern Stone Restaurant.
Whether it's a celebration, I'm so hungry.
Good morning, Rick.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm okay. How are you guys?
You just got a
Doing
plain
well.
old red hat on?
Yep. Yes, sir. What's going on?
Nondescript.
What's the weather supposed to be up there?
You know what? I just saw that it was supposed to change bad for down there tonight.
Yeah, tonight and then tomorrow morning's going to be horrible.
In
Let's
Bloomington?
see. So
No, I'm down in the Louisville area, Rick.
Oh, okay.
no, it's supposed to get down to 15 tonight.
Whoa.
And yeah. Well, that's the high tomorrow. That's tonight. Yeah. Where the hell is Thursday? Damn it. There's Thursday. High of 28.
I always go to do Jerry. You've called before when I've run Jerry's show.
Oh,
Jerry
okay.
Eves.
Yeah.
28 degrees. That's it. No moisture.
What's the latest on Jackson Davis, anything?
I haven't heard a peep, but they're not gonna say anything. I mean, we got Woody here a little bit,
10:30.
but
Yeah, Jim, whenever you want to end this segment, whether it's 10:20, 10:25, whatever, you just feel comfortable to go whenever, because I can just fill it with the Brian Evans clip from the other day.
okay. What do I have to do for an out?
Just say, coming up next, you'll hear from our post-game show with Brian Evans or something along those lines. We'll wrap it up
All
with
right,
Brian Evans next, something like that.
All right, perfect.
Where are you in your house? Or you have a studio, or where are you at?
Me?
Yeah.
Him. So Jim, whenever I started working for him, sent me this sort of a studio setup. It's not like an expensive official thing, but it's what you can do on a little bit of a budget, right, Jim?
Exactly. Yeah, and I make a studio at home.
Okay.
His is a step above what I have here, obviously, but we make it work.
Lights.
That's not supposed
camera.
to be a knock. I mean, obviously, you need the official studio. I'm just comparing the differences. I've got a couple monitors. I have everything I need to help his show run smoothly.
Okay.
We may or may not have Bob joining us, but if he does, he will be here shortly. So here we go.
Over 48 months and $0 down. Get more to your door with AndyMooreHonda.com.
Come see us at the all-new Andy Moore Honda, now in Bloomington.
This segment is brought to you by Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
Now back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington and Southern Stone Restaurant.
Welcome back. Indiana Sports Beat Radio coming to you on this midway point. Rick Bozich, Hall of Fame writer, joins us from WDRB.com. How are you, sir?
I'm good, man. It's Purdue, Indiana week. That's always exciting time in the basketball world.
Yeah, normally Purdue is not a top 5 team and Indiana is unranked, but that's where we are too. And I just had someone pull up only 3 times, I think. Has this been the case? Well, no, has in Indiana.
Purdue was top 5?
And Indiana beat, I'm like, how many times has an unranked Indiana team beat a ranked Purdue team? And I think it's only happened 3 times.
When was the last
88.
one?
Since 88, 98, and 04.
So that would be Knight twice and Davis once.
So
when Archie didn't make the list.
Archie, shocker. Archie made the list, all right, but his list is 0-7. A big old fat goose egg.
Where would you put not beating Purdue on the list of reasons that Archie Miller is no longer the coach at Indiana? I would put it in the top 3 reasons.
Yeah, number 3, but it was so bad that was almost became I don't want to say an afterthought, but everything else was so bad. You're not making the tournament. If you lose to Purdue, that angers you. But if you add not making the tournament along with that, well, now you're just compounding everything, and everything kept getting compounded. But it doesn't help because that's how you lose. That's how you lose a state.
Well, one thing I would add to it, I think one of the tipping points along the way was when he lost that game when Knight came back to Assembly Hall and all the former players were there and they came out really sort of flat for an Indiana-Purdue game. That, to me, was a tipping point that he lost a lot of the fan base and he definitely lost a lot of support from the former players.
I was shocked. That is probably the most shocking game. Maybe, I don't know, Indiana State, IU Fort Wayne is kind of hard not to be shocked at those games, but that Purdue game was a shocking because exactly what you said. I'm like, I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're not even a Division I player. If you're wearing a uniform, you play your ass off, and I didn't see that. And you didn't bring the players out for Knight. There was just so much he did not grasp. And so, but definitely there's some guys on that bench that know the difference. How much difference that makes tonight, I don't know, because they got a tall task. I mean, Purdue is just good. They're not just good on one way either. You got Zach Edey, Travion Williams, but Jaden Ivey. Man, they're Stefanovic. They're a they're a legitimate national champion contender.
Yeah, I mean, if you watch basketball on Monday, Purdue was on at noon against Illinois, and then Indiana was on at 6 against Nebraska. It was two different levels of basketball. If Purdue plays like that, the way they played against Illinois, Indiana's not going to be able to beat them because Edey was more than Kofi Coburn could handle. Travion Williams does what he needs to do. He's really become sort of a glue guy in many ways instead of a featured piece. Jaden Ivey just is a cut above any athlete that Indiana has in the backcourt. It'll be interesting to see who they put on him to try and guard him. And Stefanovic, I mean, he doesn't do it every game, but, man, he makes a lot of big-time threes. He has absolutely no fear of taking a tough shot. He doesn't hesitate at all. And he's good. And one question I would have about Purdue is point guard. I don't think their point guard play is elite, but it's not terrible to the point where it brings them down.
I can't believe this is the actual number, but I pulled up Purdue's numbers, and if this is correct, they're shooting as a team 40% from 3 points.
I believe it.
That is an astounding team number.
Yeah.
I mean, there's not a lot of big-time teams that shoot that high as a team. That's a big number.
I think that 2013 Crean team might have been in the 40s when they had Watford and Hulls and Oladipo was really making them. But was
that a shorter 3-point line?
Maybe a tiny bit, but 40%. You're making 40% of your threes with big guys like Edey and Travion Williams. You're good.
Yeah, you're solid because the ones you don't make, they're probably getting half of the damn rebounds.
Right.
What does Indiana do with Zach Edey? I watched that game, the Illinois game. I'm like, you can't just, I've been saying this earlier, you can't just block Edey out. You have to block him out of the damn paint because even if you got him blocked out, he still can score over you or rebound over you. He's just that big. And so blocking him out doesn't do much.
My guess is going to be Race Thompson because I'm sure they don't want to get Trace Jackson Davis in foul trouble. And Race has the physical strength to maybe try and keep him off the block or away from the rim. But as you say, he's got 7 or 8 inches on Race Thompson. So that's really like a 6'2" guy guarding a 6'9" guy. Don't like your odds. So I think what they have to do is try and minimize that as best they can and play better defense on the perimeter with the guards and make it difficult to let them feed the post and get the ball down inside.
Then this is a game that Xavier Johnson cannot get into foul trouble. Who's going to guard Jaden Ivey?
Great question. I would think it's going to start out being Parker Stewart, be my guess. Maybe not. Maybe Parker Stewart will be on Stefanovic. Maybe it will be Xavier Johnson, one or the other. It looks like at some point it could be an assignment for Jordan Geronimo or possibly Trey Galloway. I don't know. I mean, I think it'll be a string of guys doing it.
Yeah, the thing that Indiana, they can pull this upset off. It's not that they can't, but they have to do something they have not done all year, and that is play 40 minutes of good basketball.
Right.
They haven't played a complete game. They can't seem to go a couple of games without falling back into this massive turnover hole. Got to take care of the ball, and they've got to hit 3-point shots.
Yeah, I agree with all that. And they can't afford to they've become a little lax defensively in some of these games. Against Nebraska, I thought they were not great at guarding the pick and roll in spots of the first half. I know that Nebraska got a couple of very easy layups. Trace Jackson Davis got lost on a couple of pick and rolls. Can't do that because Painter's a good coach and he'll exploit that every way he can. So they're going to have to use their depths too. I think this is the kind of game that Michael Durr is going to have to play 6 to 8 minutes because he has the kind of big body. He might be a guy that would have to guard Zach Edey for a while, not worry about his offense, just worry about playing defense and rebounding and be a guy who goes out there and gives them 8 or 10 minutes against Zach Edey or Travion Williams, either one.
Then I forgot about Gillis, Mason Gillis. He has become a really solid player for them.
Right. Yeah, he has. he's a guy, coming out of Newcastle High School that Indiana really showed little interest in.
Yep.
And he ended up, I like his game. He's physically, he's a strong, powerful guy. And he's another guy. Purdue's guys play with a lot of confidence. There's not a lot of hesitation in Purdue's team. And we haven't talked about Newman. Newman's had a bad year, but he finally hit a 3 against Illinois. And I imagine Painter's going to, knowing the way Painter coaches, he'll start bringing him back in more into the mix. First seems to sort of have had his role diminished greatly as the season's gone on, but that's probably a sign of, Purdue's got a older, more experienced team. They got guys who've been around for a while.
Yeah, and they play like it. They play like they have a purpose. You can tell that they're wanting to get to the end of this season and continue to get better as they have done thus far. They had that you mentioned that game on Monday with Illinois. That was a must-win for Purdue of sorts if to stay in the Big Ten hunt. They lose that game, it was over. They would have been 3 games out, and Illinois would have been 7-0 in the Big Ten with a gigantic lead. Right. That was now Purdue back in the hunt, and like you said, that was a battle for them, and they battled the entire game and pulled up the win with that.
Yeah, I mean, and that we talk about road wins. That was more than just a road win. That's a quality road win. That's like one of the best road wins in the country this year. To go in there and beat that team on their floor, especially when they were leading the Big Ten, and as you mentioned, Purdue had already had won a home loss to Wisconsin, and Wisconsin, we're figuring out as the season goes on, is better than I think we projected they were going to be. And then the more perplexing thing was the loss at Rutgers. Because Rutgers isn't really that good. So, Indiana, this will be a big week for them because as I researched the other day, they've lost 9 in a row to Purdue and 8 in a row to Michigan, and they got them both at home in a 4-day stretch. And they definitely need to win one. And if they probably want to give themselves some breathing room and move up in the bracket, and I think Lenardi had them as a 9 seed in his latest update, they need to win both of them because they'd be the 2 best. Well, Purdue would be the best win on their record. Michigan would probably be the 3rd best win on their record, I guess.
Yeah, I did not realize they lost 8 straight to Michigan.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
Yeah, this was the week of streaks. 8 straight road losses, 9 straight Purdue losses, and 8 straight Michigan losses.
Can you imagine if
Miller beat Michigan or Purdue?
Can you imagine the punch it would give to the program that they were able to vanquish all 3 of those streaks in the same week?
Yeah, it'd be huge. It'd be huge for the national narrative. It'd be huge for their NCAA tournament chances. It'd be huge for the fan base. It'd be huge for the confidence of the team. It'd be big for recruiting. It'd be a lot of things. It'd be the biggest moment. It's sort of be the, Mike Woodson's the guy moment. It's for Gary Parrish might even say they didn't spend $10 million to make their program worse.
Do they have to win one out of those 2 games? Purdue, Michigan?
Yeah, they have to win one of the 2. I think, to keep everybody believing that they're an NCAA tournament team, to stop some of the negativity that creeps in when you start losing games like that, and for their NCAA tournament chances. I mean, you can't lose 2 home games because then you have to go out and get 2 road games, and it was hard enough for them to get 1 against Nebraska. So they got to win 1.
I agree. And to stay in that because they still got that Syracuse loss is so ugly. I keep seeing who they lose to. I'm like, oh my God, such an ugly loss. But and the Wisconsin loss that could have been so good for them, it doesn't hurt them as bad as it could have helped them on the resume, I think.
And Penn State. I mean, Wisconsin would have been huge for them, a road win at Wisconsin. And Syracuse, as you mentioned, although I think they did win last night, they beat Clemson, but they're a 500 team that's not going to make the NCAA tournament. So that both those games were winnable. They should have won one of them.
If Indiana loses both these games, what going forward, what do they have to look forward to the season? They have to focus on just trying to finish the season. In reality, I know that they're not going to no one ever acknowledges that, but the truth is truth.
I mean, if they lose them both, obviously, then the next game I think is also at home against Penn State. That becomes an absolute must win. And then they get to a scenario where they're going to have to go and get one of those They're +1 now because they've got 1 road win and no home losses. If they lose 2 home games, then they'd be -1. They'd have to go back and get at least 1 road win so they could finish at least 500 in the Big Ten, which I think would get them in the tournament. But if they lose them both, you're going to see them pushed down into the talk about they're on the bubble for the tournament, and they probably would be.
Let's see. In this area, used to be the area for the tournament. When tournament time rolled around, man, it was everybody: Indiana, Louisville, Kentucky, and that has not been the case for so long. That has gotten disrupted. Indiana, obviously, a big part of that not happening. Louisville has been in and out of that happening, and they're back in the middle of that again. It's not as fun when these premier programs are not as good as we'd like for them to be.
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt about it because we were spoiled for so many years where we could pretty much assume that Louisville, Kentucky, and Indiana would all be in the top 25. Really hadn't been that way for a while. 2013, Kentucky wasn't good. They just come off the national championship and went to the NIT, but that was the year Louisville and Indiana were both in the top 5 most of the year. And I think what you're getting at is Louisville struggles, and they're 10-7. They got a 3-game losing streak. They faced a must-win tonight against Boston College at home. And I might have said this before to you guys, but I know I've said it to others, that Louisville is sort of at where Indiana was last year, where the season's not going the way that people want it to go or expected it to go. And the fan base is starting to have doubts about the coach. And when they lost to Pittsburgh on Saturday, and after the game, he said he was having a difficult time coming up with the right answers to motivate his players. That seemed to really annoy a lot of Louisville fans. And as the tournament was picked today, they're not in it.
Yeah, and that's a little surprising.
I mean, their net rating is in the 100s. That's how. I mean, they're worse than Indiana was last season.
And you talk about the coach, because I know that we all know that they had their issues with the Adidas stuff and all that, but all those other teams that had that, hell, they're all ranked. So they've been able to get by that. So you have to start looking at, is it the coach? Is it, but they had other stuff going on, the Dino Guardio stuff where he was dealing with that craziness outside the text video he made last year that ended up going viral. I mean, just silly stuff that a coach of a Big Ten program doesn't want to be dealing with, I'm sure.
Yeah, self-inflicted issues. You don't make that kind of. I mean, he did it in the privacy of his house, and I think he thought there was no way that would ever get out. And
right,
somebody in his group made a mistake and shared it with somebody, and I mean, it came out 2 months after the fact. But that kind of stuff. He made a video too, sort of mocking John Calipari about scheduling once, which really was unnecessary. And in the end, though, it's winning and losing and style of play. And although Rick Pitino left here because he was pushed out and fired, he remains pretty popular with the fans because when he was here, they won, and it was a very entertaining style of basketball. And he made the downtown arena. He was a driving force towards getting the downtown arena, and he regularly filled it. And I don't know if you've read much of the stuff, but Louisville's announcing crowds of about 11,000. But the Courier Journal did a thing where they actually got the turnstile count of the games, and I think they're really averaging closer to 7,000 people per game.
For men's basketball?
Yeah.
Holy crap. That's a 22,000 seat arena that is always packed and loud.
It hadn't been packed this year, man. I'll be surprised if there's 5,000 people at the game tonight because they're playing a bad team. They've lost 3 in a row, and they're supposed to be bad weather. It's you go into the building, there's no energy there. And
that amazes me because even when Indiana sucked in their 6-25 season under Tom Crean, Assembly Hall was rolling still. Not that it's always perfect. I mean, there was at the end of Archie Miller, the corners were really starting to wane, but it was still a lot of people there. That's very shocking to me. But speaking of Rick Pitino, he sent out a tweet. Final 4 prospects. Most he's seen, some he hasn't. He's got Kentucky, Auburn, LSU, Duke, Miami, Purdue, Wisconsin, UCLA, Kansas, USC, Texas Tech, Iona, Loyola of Chicago, Baylor, Villanova, and Seton Hall. He said he snuck one in there if you're paying attention. Hey, I would never put anything past Rick Pitino, not me. He is, I don't care what you think of him, one of the greatest college basketball coaches in the history of the game.
There's no doubt about it. His team won a road game in overtime last night at Monmouth. They're ranked ahead of Louisville in the in the computer rankings by a considerable margin. And don't think people around here haven't noticed that. And don't think sports writers in the area haven't tweeted that, because it's tough following a legend like him here, even though he was, as I said, pushed out at the end. But it was and they're trying to re-engage with the Rick Pitino era this weekend, because they're bringing Russ Smith in and they're retiring his number. Not, he's going to only become the 5th Louisville player ever to have his number retired, joining Charlie Tyree, Wes Unseld, Darrell Griffith, and Purvis Ellison. Russ Smith joins the club on Saturday when Louisville plays Notre Dame.
Wow, I did not know they had so few. That is amazing. Now, they brought back Bobby Petrino when no one thought that they would.
Right.
Any chance in hell that Rick Pitino comes back? Because it was, different situation because of the Adidas thing. He was never charged with anything. Was never charged with anything. He's the only coach that was actually fired. These other head coaches stayed in place. I don't even want to talk about Walt White at LSU. That's just the most Walter White. I start calling him Walter White. Walter White. But any chance that Louisville would ever bring him back?
I don't think so, Jim, from the standpoint of it was more than just the Adidas scandal. Rick Pitino isn't the coach here because of the Karen Cypher situation in the restaurant, and also because of the stripper and prostitution parties in the dorm. So I don't see that being the case.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. Well, I'm going to let you get out of here so you can go get set up for Woody.
Yep.
But we appreciate it, man. Look forward to seeing you tomorrow night.
All right, man.
The great Rick Bozich, Hall of Famer. Make sure you go to WDRB.com. Give him a follow as well, Rick. Thank you, sir. I appreciate you.
All right. Thank you.
You bet. Rick Bozich joining us here on Indiana Sports Beat Radio on this Wednesday. But I love talking to him. But yeah, I love talking about all that stuff. But think about all that craziness. All those coaches, all those teams that were involved with that Adidas, Kansas, Arizona, Auburn, was it Oklahoma State? But Auburn ranked in the top 5. LSU ranked in the top 10. Kansas. So, yeah. Rick Pitino, though, he's fun. I love watching his teams. I would love to see Iona do something just for the hell of it. Just because it's like the bad guy. It's the punk brother that you kicked out, and now he's going over and winning. Just fun. Fun just to and then now you got Louisville struggling beyond belief, which is I couldn't care about either way, but it's just ironic how college athletics continues to just churn. We've got all this, the Adidas, I call it the Adidas stuff from a few FBI sting stuff from a few years ago, but nothing has really happened. Nothing's happened. The only thing that's happened to those teams is that they're all still good. Louisville affected because you know what? Louisville's the only coach who was fired. Now Sean Miller, he left, didn't he? On his own. I can't. I think he left on his own. He knew better. Took his millions and ran. Jared says it's hilarious how out of touch most Louisville-based TV networks or stations are, proven by WLKY picking Ravens games over Colts games weekly to air because they don't seem to think Lamar Jackson actually moves the needle. I've got to, but I hope you guys had a great day. We're going to finish up by letting you listen to a little bit of Brian Evans from a post-game show. Appreciate everybody on the show today, DJ, Rick, and most importantly, thanks to you guys. And I'll see you guys tomorrow, and we'll do this all again. I'm Jim Coyle. Until then, I will see you on the radio.
We'll be right back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by